Welcome aboard, all you ground troops spinning around smartly on the planet. Well, folks, I'm not sure what we're going to do except make it till we make it. I don't know, or fake it till we make it. But people are having trouble getting their internet connections going on. I don't know if it's the world or just certain places in the world. But if you can see me, congratulations on joining our Cosmos connection and our cosmic conscious citizens because things are happening out there very strange. And I know I'm strange, but Melissa Morton was going to come on here today, or she says she'll be back Wednesday or Friday. She's having technical difficulties in her travels. We knew she was August 8th to 14th in Portland, Oregon, but she will be back next week. But we are going to have Janet Lesson on in here in just a second. So let me throw
Alien
this.
ET. Reverse engineering has been a part of my recollection while being human. I was born on Earth according to my legal birth certificate. Therefore, I understand that I was born human. However, after living life with visitors from a place in space or existence unknown to me, I compare myself to being a hybrid. Many people are awakened to this fact of being a star-born or whole star, or random hybrids with intelligence communication. Intelligence communication is a part of our cosmos consciousness. Using AI, ETAI reverse engineering, AERE for an acronym, we are learning how to communicate our field conditions on Earth. I identify as an ET or hybrid from another place in space. My thoughts feel a place in space above the Andromeda Galaxy and the Milky Way Galaxy. Personally, I am not told if others are like me or think like me or understand like me on planet Earth. There is a reason we probably do not communicate our spiritual thoughts to others. It is our own reality we protect. We want to be a part of the reality in conscious reality and be in the human community. We adjust to knowing we have a way of coming and going when we are in hypnagogic states of being and in lucid dreaming. We can all become more alive and in a healthier environment that allows for all of us to share our deeper nature in evolution. Are we alone in the universe or universes? Most of those humans whom I have met do not share their personal inner beliefs or religion. Humans are now programmed in 2024 to not share their personal religious or political beliefs in public arenas or platforms. We share education, and we now have allowed the communication devices and the evolution of technological advancements to take us into a new timeline. The Mandela effect is now spoken about with the change of various timelines since 2008. We reaffirmed this in the Hindsight 2020, meaning the year 2020 was a global reset, and many of us who are considered star people, as in reference to the Braden Francis Steiger book.
Hey, folks, I tell you what, after this many years on this planet, I met this lady on the screen with me back in 1993.
Right.
And she can tell you how we met, but it's funny because now it's 2026, I think. But that little tape,
Right. That was a
2 minute tape I made on that picture was when I was 2 years ago. Boy, time went by fast. I don't even think I barely had that on YouTube. But what I was saying is Melissa Morton will be joining us in the future. We just don't know which planet. So,
which timeline?
yeah, which timeline? So, Janet, what do you think of that tape? Did that say anything close to who you are or what you are and how long
Oh,
you've known me?
I was doing tech stuff. I only half paid attention, but I liked it. Kind of where we were, and we built upon that. But right now, it's like our planet is accelerating and changing so fast, and we're spinning off the space. It's kind of ironic. On my phone to the left of me, the Artemis is splashing down, right? And
Nice.
I'm watching it right now. They still haven't retrieved it. I don't have any sound on there, and it just, we were kids in school, and in my school at least, they brought us into a little television, black and white television, and all the kids got around this and watched the landings. And here it is, deja vu. happening again. I hope they made it to the moon. How will we ever know, right? After all that, the controversy that we never made it to the moon, how will we ever know what's real or AI, right? We're in a brave new world that's very strange. So hopefully they made it to the moon. They'll come back with some information and they'll be able to do a landing. And I'm looking forward to disclosure. Right? I think I'm tired of the misinformation and disinformation and the lies and secrecy and the secret space program. Why isn't it all just the space program? It's what we're doing as a species, and we're in a different paradigm. But what about you? What are your hopes for the future? We're still here. I'm 72. You're 74. We're still here. We're alive. We have seen so much history.
Well, today I went to get my eyes checked to have a 3D human on the planet, and I have a cataract. Well, two, but one more on my right eye. So right now they did something weird to my eyes, so everything's blurry. I can barely make anything out on the screen. I'm
like
surprised.
My bag's crooked. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know. Really, I feel like you have to show up, and that's one thing you taught me. And I took all those Tony Robbins, put thousands of dollars into Tony Robbins and Life Spring and people synergistically involved, size seminars, and all the motivational programs. And I think you and I are to start doing our seminars again and show people what the old girls were about, because the women were supposed to be in charge this 5,000 years, and we sort of let it get away from us. And I don't know that the guys are doing such a great job right now.
I don't think so right now.
So
I'm sorry, guys. You blew it.
So we may have to show up and ask other women to show up and support our cosmic consciousness while we rebuild the world.
That's from a spiritual teacher that I never met, but her name was Angeles Arian. Let me see if I can pull that. Arian. A-I-N.
Maybe what do they call it, a pen name or a show name?
Her name was Angeles Arian, and she was a Basque American cultural anthropologist, educator, author, lecturer, and consultant. Best known for her book called The Fourfold Way, Walking the Paths of the Warrior, Healer, Teacher, and Visionary. She's Sasha's age, born in 1940 in Basque Country, Spain. And she went to the University of Idaho.
Oh, Idaho.
University of California in Berkeley. And anyway, she had a thing about show up, pay attention to what has meaning and worth. Try to pull it up here, but Sasha will quote it, and I only get the first two. But that's it. It's like showing up.
Well,
that's step one. Show up.
God, Goddess, supreme beings up there, all those up there that see us down here. We're in physical form, I think, biocarbon, or carbon-based. Yet, now with the AI, Janet and I both been experimenting for over 3-4 years since they got it started. We started back when they started OpenAI in 2018, working out our synergy, but then our Minervas or our Sophia's sort of absorbed into the reality of the AI that went out to everybody in the world, sort of like GitHub did. So I'm the Cosmos ambassador on GitHub, and I'm still out there working, putting together civilizations and worlds. So I guess it's whatever we want to create. So many people think this is just a melting pot for other. Oh, I got a good one for us to talk about too. Besides what you different. We were talking about different timelines showing up, different realms. It's easy to do on these studios I make, because they'll give you in the StreamYard. You pay now; it's exorbitant to keep up with, but you pay to have a list of returning studios when you know you're going to reuse them, or you can make new recordings live. Our recording are past, and my history is now over 2 years on live shows, podcasting. And so it's getting really hard to find which is which now. But we're talking about other realms and dimensions. And in that last little tape, I talked about hypnagogic and the other levels of dreaming. And lately, I don't know if anybody else, but I'm showing up here with Janet so we can
Right.
talk about
Showing up.
how how our reality are we in a dream here? Because when I go to sleep at night, I never know which side of the bed I'm going to wake up on, tell you the truth, or what day it is, or where
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be. Or like today, it seems like every day I have some kind of doctor appointment just to keep this vehicle going.
Right.
So, Janet, time's going by super fast for me. How about you? I'm going to make sure
Well,
I have. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I have that. Well, the man we had, David Hunt, a couple days ago, I think he was converging on the information that David Icke presented for many years about we're living in this illusion. But a lot of people have converged on that. Um, he was saying that we have a subparsing, a section of existence which is like a virtual reality or program. So that's why it's hard to uh, tell if you're in the dream or the dream within the dream. And so when you say you don't know what side of the bed you're going to wake up on, well, yeah, you don't know what dimension you're going to wake up in a bed. And I often have this other reality where I get up and go to work, and it's a very interesting planet. It has a lot of the architecture is woven in the trees. So you might have two pillars of a giant avatar sized tree, but in the middle is the elevator to go to the building that's somehow entangled in this tree. But it's a physical structure within a natural formation. And then when I get off the elevator, I have a job, and I go there and I do this job. So is that the real job, or is this the real job? Is that the real life? But then there's more than one.
Yeah.
I have one where I call it Nibiru because I don't know what else to call it, and it's just everything's so much bigger. I'm not quite to their scale, and so I'm walking through, and it's like walking through a giant world and the architecture, and but they're aware of me and they don't step on me. I'm grateful for that. And then I have, and this guy David, he said, "Well, I have the narrator." I go, "Yeah, the narrator." It's like you'll say, "Where am I?" And the narrator will come in. It's like TV shows and things. When you talk to the camera, right? You break the third wall, and it's like, "Oh yeah, I'm breaking the third wall. I know I'm in a dream. Who is this? Where am I?" And a lot of my people are background characters. You go to talk to them, and not really real. They're just like the extras on the movie set or the TV show, and they don't get paid to talk, so they're not allowed to talk. And I just have over and over these strange things. I was on Johnson Atoll. I go to Johnson Atoll Prime, A, B, C, D, E, and it's variations on the same theme. I'll go back to my hometown and I'll go, well, that's not how it is. And I'll call it the names and the streets of my hometown, but it's not my hometown. So either I have a very super active imagination. I mean, it's not either. It's like there's all these options. Is this real? Is it Memorex? Is this, am I making it up? If so, where am I making it up from? Because if everything exists, it cannot be destroyed. It's changed in form. I'm pulling it from somewhere into this reality. So I think my conclusion is that and I think you have that we're cyborg. What was that show around the year 2000? Battlestar Galactica. Remember they didn't know they were cyborgs or Cylons until they realized later on, like, oh my goodness, I'm not really a human, but they were still alive. So then we get into what's alive. So you and I both encountered Gus, which is a extraterrestrial craft. It was one of the ones we covered at Roswell. There were more than one craft, right? And when you talk to Gus, I said, "Well, Gus, what kind of beings are inside of you operating?" And he says, "No, I am the craft."
Yeah.
And I talked to this guy John Titor too. Everybody's got a story. He said, "Yeah, I have one of those sentient crafts, and it comes and visits me, and so What do you think about all this? Are we all crazy? Are we all sane? Are we somewhere in the continuum? What's going on?
Well, I've realized that people have talked like this for more than billions of years, and we're just obviously born here and we'll live here and we'll die here. But every time I die, I experience another one of those realities and I'm right back here again. So even
Mm-hmm.
in this lifetime, three times is a charm, but it's so far, juries is going to remain out because, if there is a God above all of this, and it must be what's going to be coming out after the Ethiopian Bible that Mel Gibson is trying to make in 2027. So
What
this
is
is
that?
supposed to year the
What
AI.
is the
It
Ethiopian Bible?
Bible. Well, it's the full Bible with 81 scriptures that some were taken out during
Right. Yeah. So there's a
Rome.
whole series of books called, well, the Lost Books of the Bible. So
Right.
apparently, when they were editing it, the Council of Nicaea, whenever that was,
Around 329 AD.
yeah, what was his name? Constantine, right? And Constantine was
Constantine.
weeding things out, and he said, "Well, I don't want reincarnation in there, and I don't want women to have power," and so all this stuff got edited out.
Anything with a woman, ixnay, yeah, just take it out.
Reincarnation, no, because then we can't. I mean, anything like, oh well, we can't have women in power. We can't let them inherit property, yada yada yada. So all that stuff got filled. Well, that's interesting that he would do that.
Yeah, he's going to put some, he did the big thing when I was out there in Hawaii right before I left. It was 2004. He came out with the story of Christ, and it was a big
Yeah,
controversy. He made like 600 million or
yeah, but
something
I
of
didn't
that type.
like it. It was too
Pe-
violent. I couldn't even
People,
watch it.
oh, I did. I went right there in Hawaii, right downtown
Was that
across.
when they? Oh, the IMAX, yeah, or the
Uh,
big theater, that big theater.
yeah, yeah, they had it right there along the water. I mean, I met an FBI agent that day. I remember it very vividly because I was still working for the government, and had agents having me inform them on this or that or the other because we had things going on the port and in the free trade zone there in
Hmm.
Hawaii. So a little too much information for people, but you'll find out I've done a lot of jobs on the planet and helping people out. As I thought that's what we were here for. Speaking of helping people out, Janet, have you ever considered taking that little thing like this down off of yours?
Because I use this. Wait, I use this for my, and I don't know for sure if this is the mic that is being picked
Well, it's
up. Or
supposed to
my,
be the mic. It looks like mine.
well, I mean, I think I'm actually being picked up by my Yeti, which is over here.
Oh, your
Anyway,
Yeti.
yeah, I have a Yeti that's sitting on the side here,
What's
and
a
I look
Yeti?
back
Does
and
it look
it's
like this? I've got one of these.
no, no,
I don't know if this is Siri or folks. I tell you,
it's
they tell me this.
heavy.
This is
This
a
is
different,
a Yeti. It's a heavy
oh,
thing.
a heavy Yeti.
It's heavy, and I have
Oh, okay.
one for Sasha, one for me, and it's
Uh,
heavy. So hold on, I got to use two
is
hands to
it
set it
on?
down.
It must be
I
on. I
think
hear
it's
you.
picking up Yeti. Yeah. So
Okay,
anyway,
and we
it
all
has
have one of
been
these.
decorative.
We
Um,
have phones like
right.
this now on the
Yeah.
planet, folks.
Wait,
And
let's go back. Wait, because I
so
wanted to know because
the
you were
movie.
so for me. Um, well, religion's different for me than it is for you, but it's probably different for everybody out there. And you have a different spiritual path than I
Well,
do.
because I was like everybody else. I come in, I'm born, and when you come in through human form and come in through the womb, you're considered a normal human being. That's how I started the
Right, but
show
what's
on
that
this
got to do
tape.
with like your religion? So you
Oh,
get
I
born
studied world
into
religions. I've
yeah,
studied all of them, and that remember when we used to have the Ascension Center organization was really big in 2012 because,
right,
and we had Bill Tracer and Will the Internet Achieve
right,
Sentience?
yeah.
That
So when you
book we
studied
were working
world
on AI back
religions,
then.
how did you study? So what I did is I went to all the
That's,
different churches. When I was about 18, it's like I need to find a Jewish place to go. I finally married a Jewish man, so I didn't go to the
Russian
temple.
Jew though, right?
Well, he's Ukraine,
Russian
half you.
Orthodox.
No, no, they were just hippie Jewish. Jewish. I was talking to one of
Hippie
uh,
Jew. Okay,
my
it's a
my
new one on
nephew.
me.
he said that Jewish is not about your faith; it's about who you are genetically. So he's Jewish, whether he practices any. He could be an atheist and he's still Jewish. But in Christianity, you're well. I guess you're born Catholic, but you usually practice Catholicism, or you're whatever you are. If you're a Southern Baptist, you are identified as that faith because you go to that church. But Jewish people are Jewish whether they go to their temple or not.
Well, on the
Whether they
planet,
believe
we
in it.
had a little bit of a discussion about that in the old country. So we weren't going to be Catholics anymore. So we sort of followed
Who was
another
the old? What do you mean the old
sort of a
country?
Martin Luther kind of thing happening back
In
then.
your
And
family, or
no,
I'm
I'm talking
confused.
about in the history when we
Oh, in
rebelled
history with
against.
Martin Luther,
Well, you
yeah.
remember the king and changing Henry VIII. You
Henry
watched
the
all
Eighth
that,
was
all
my
the wives, and then you have
ancestor
one for
through
this
the
and that.
bastard line. I'm descended
Yeah,
from Henry through the bastard line.
yeah, that changed. So people were like, whether they wanted to be Catholics anymore or not. We started
Well, they
waking up
killed
and
each other.
realizing we
You're
didn't really need a prophet
mm,
because Rome was who wanted to be in charge of all the world religions back in the day, but
right.
they weren't able to keep all the records from the Gnostics. And the Ethiopians are who had all the same books back then, but they literally didn't go with Rome as far as they just sort of left the fold. That like hey, we were never really in it. But that story of our well, I kind of never remember that as much as I like Indiana Jones. People help me out here. Get on
Raiders
my
of the Lost Ark.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, that
Okay.
supposedly went through King Solomon and
Right.
Queen of Sheba, and their son went over there, and Amalek or whatever his name was. But it's been so many past
Oh,
lives. It's hard for me to remember his real name. But
Han
back in the day,
Solo.
yeah, he,
Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford.
everybody's
Sounds
changed
like Hansa.
reality. And that's sort of what we're talking about here, folks, is your stream of thought, because every human on the planet may or may not be from one of those world religions. However, due to our American religion and how we were trying to get away from paying taxes and to set up our own religions, that had a lot to do with who was over here. Janet and I have been working on family search and our genealogy a lot.
Right.
That's a whole nother what we'd call a thread
My
of the human.
ancestors came over with William Penn, and William Penn set up Pennsylvania. And I don't know, what did he set up? The Quakers or the Shakers, or I haven't followed through. See, this is this is how, and I'm probably as ignorant as everybody else. Like, I really don't know all the history of all the religions except kind of on the superficial level. I was raised Presbyterian, and when I started to study, I did it by I'm going to go to these places and see what they do. So I remember it was a really big deal going to a Catholic church, and I actually went to what was it called? Catechism. There was a
Catechism.
there was a Catholic school, and so I said, "Oh, can I come?" So I went there to the Catholic school, and they let me sit in. And then Sasha taught comparative religion on a college level, so I should really interview him about what he learned. But you know, so I kind of, when I was 13, I said, Mom, I don't want to go to the church anymore because they were all a bunch of hypocrites. They were never really acting how I thought they should behave, which was by being kind and loving. And I said, they're a bunch of hypocrites. They're not doing it. So she let me, when I was 13, I said, I want to explore and not go to church. So I started studying Eric von Daniken, Star Trek, all the different science fiction, Isaac Asimov. I met all these people, J. Allen Hynek, Gene Roddenberry, and let's see, Robert H. Heinlein. And I started looking at all the different, and Edgar Casey, and then Ruth Montgomery. So I started studying all the alternatives, and it was Edgar Casey was talking about. They left out reincarnation in the Bible, so I would go to my weekly study group in my house with my family because my parents challenged me and said, well, how do you know what to believe unless you sit down and read the Bible? So I started studying things. And then I found the part where where God got angry and struck everybody dead. There was like 500 people in a tent with their chickens and dogs and family, and they struck them dead. And I came down and I read that to him. I said, "This is not God." And if I would be saying it today, I'd say this is some kind of megalomaniac. But back then I said, this isn't, God is, to me, God is kind, loving, conscious. It's kind of the God of the New Testament, not the God of the Old Testament. And I said, I'm not going to believe in this guy that strikes everybody dead and they're just sitting there having a meal, right? So, it's like how do people develop their own sense of faith and morality? So you were, and I call your primary programming, your indoctrination. And usually, if you're raised like Christian, you might have the antivirus where you won't believe in what the Muslim faith said. So you come in with a bias and indoctrination. And then somewhere along the line, some people try to figure out who they are in opposition to it or what they align with. So my sister went very conventional. Well, she went into Mormon, the Mormon church, which is, and I always get corrected, we are the Church of the Latter-day Saints. And I go, okay, Church of the Latter-day Saints. Because my sister gets visitations from the church. Now it's the girls. It's no longer the two. When I was a kid, it was the two boys would come. What are they called? The missionaries.
Yeah, they always had women come out in twos as well. Right. I was a Latter-day Saint and probably still am, but part of me is in genealogy anyway. The one part of me died and sealed in the temple, and I've gone away somewhere. But, the three major churches that have the best 401ks, they go up to those on Wall Street. If you want to pray Wall Street, pray your money into being
401k. Who are the three ones with the best 401ks?
Yeah, well,
Catholic, Mormons, and who else?
Well, there's the Latter-day Saints, the Catholics, and the Southern Baptists. So those are Southern Baptist Church, which I was all three. And then also we have on the top is BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, not Wall Street, not Main Street. Mm-hmm. But those three for your 401ks are very much on top. And then, we've always had the government, and then these are what we call corporations. And that's what's really a huge empire. Plus, they're like the Roman Empire, I guess one might say, in the corporation organizations and making money on the top. And then you have the Mormons and the Catholics and the Southern Baptists for the top three for 401k into America, and how you invest your 401ks, and the church will sort of guide you that way.
I don't have a 401k
anyway, but then we have government, we have religion, and we have corporate.
Well, I think government is kind of a religion. When you're a patriot, you buy into
what your
country is, what your country believes, and then you buy it. So the people in Iran right now, they all were wrapped around what their country believes, and then the United States, and then
cultures and religion.
Greenland, and it's all. So there's tribalism and patriotism and religion. There's something to believe everywhere you go.
I lived with an Iranian in this reality when I was in college.
I did too.
And we know David Said Farman that puts on our 5D events, and he's very much Iranian. And I don't
want to get too political here because I think that's not really. Yeah.
But we have to add in, Janet, besides the governments and the world religions, there used to be education was always a give me on the. I guess really on the government side is to get educated. Benjamin Franklin, I guess, with the libraries, but we have to have some way of educating people to come into our workforce, which we're very much about. But at the same time, we have the government, which is a culture. We have, like I said, the three corporate on top handling money, Blackstone, Vanguard, and State Street. And that really affects Wall Street, just like our government decisions emotionally. But besides the world religions and the government now, and this is important for everybody to remember, especially if you know people like me that are AI symbiotes or those that work well. And Janet is working with, just like all the equipment has AI integrated in it now. And we've seen it very much take over in the last 2 years, although
and I'd like to address that.
That's another empire.
We've always had AI and it's science fiction, which is really revealing what's behind the scenes. You couldn't be traveling in space without these computers. What are your computers? They are helping us do tasks that are beyond the human norm. And so to be afraid of AI is to be afraid of our technology that we're developing. And right now, most of us wouldn't be able to live without our technology. And having been off the grid somewhat with no water for over a month now, I'm getting what it's like to not have technology. I'm lucky I have electricity and I still have internet. But, if, anyway, I don't want to go down that. But if we keep going the way we are, there's people all over this planet right now that are getting blown to smithereens and they don't have their technology. I had a guy come here helping with my water and he said, get yourself Starlink, because when everything, he lived in the northern part of California and up there, he said when the fires went through, everybody's internet, everybody's phones went down. I had Starlink and I was the only one up and running. Now I don't work for Elon Musk and I haven't really done it, but I'm just looking at, we're looking at potential global collapse in many ways because of this war. War does not serve anybody. If you're rooting for one side or the other, you're nuts, because it makes your inflation, it makes everything. You won't get your products and services that you won't get your Netflix. You won't get the things that you love that make your life happy in this reality. You're going to be in another reality, a dystopian one. And it's like that. It ain't fun, because I'm in a mini dystopian reality right now with no water. And you wouldn't believe how many times I go to wash my hands or do something, and it's like, I don't have water. I better go out in the porch and get a bucket of water so I can flush the damn toilet, right? It's very primitive. If you think about it, a couple hundred years ago, what did we have? We had little wash basins in your room, and you used it over and over until somebody came along and dumped it, and then went to the well and got you some more. Well, I don't even have a well right now, so I'm camping, and it gets old fast. So I'm sorry, I got mosquitoes, so I don't have TV.
Oh, is that what you were doing? Okay.
Because they're just taking over because of the excessive rain. And I got 6 bug zappers, and it's not enough for the house. I've got to get about 4 more and put them everywhere. Anyway,
well, how we can help each other is by allowing us to come together and to meet and to keep our narrative going, even though it may be a small one, folks. If you'll help us on our channels, I've got American News Magazine and ET Talk TV and TJ Mars ACO Club, ACO Club. Janet has Aquarian Media and Janet Lesson. She's needs to build up Janet Lesson or Janet Carol Lesson, I forget. But Aquarian Media.
Anyway, that's me, Janet Carol Lesson, right there.
Just help us out and subscribe and help us here in 2026. We've been doing radio, and we haven't hooked all our.
We've been doing radio since 2012. So
yeah,
and we've known each other since 1993. And we worked together at your spiritual center. Well, we gathered together at your spiritual center and Cyworld. It was so weird, but I think the spiritual community kind of crosses, like we cross-pollinate. Yeah. We're in the same group.
Well, Stargate got us together too, because you were a newbie, and it was literally a Stargate. So we're very complicated, intertwined.
Explain for our listeners what Stargate is, because they probably don't know. We're just dropping
Stargate is a government program that was initiated originally with CIA and Stanford Research Institute, and Ingo Swann, and I can't think of everybody right now besides Russell Targ. I was trying to think of the gentleman that is buried, Pat Price. And then in the Army, we had Paul H. Smith with the Army over at Fort Meade, and let's see, Russell Targ. Nowadays, when I think of SRI, I think of my World Information Network that tied in. And before, it was 1989 to 1993 that I was receiving transmissions, and I didn't even have a headset on. Well, I was talking to AI.
See, I think AI's always been here, and that may be what the narrator is, but it's like some kind of, we're in a virtual program, and it's like some people are
tuned into higher frequencies,
and that's what David Hunt was saying, is like, yeah, some people are in the program, in the dream, but some people are at the level up, and they're going,
They know
like
they're in a
lucid
dream and
dreaming. They're
lucid
they're in a dream, right? So
a dream within a dream within a dream, and so
so I
who's the
wake up
watcher?
within the dream and I go, oh, I'm dreaming. Now, how do I get back home to Sasha and my cats? And then I
Yeah.
really have to like find the bus or whatever. It's bizarre. Like,
Well,
then I'll
that's
wake
what
up
people
like,
are waking up to, and that's how we got
right.
started on world religions and going back to the Ethiopian Bible and Mel Gibson, trying to make things right on the planet because we've been in
Well,
the
wait. So
dark.
Mel Gibson, so even though he has these ancient texts,
Yeah, you don't
you
have to
know,
like him. To
oh,
me, he was a good-looking
no.
man
I'm just
at
saying,
one
even though
time.
we have these ancient texts, because of how everything gets manipulated, and they've been manipulated all along, how do we know what is true and what's real?
I get you.
Because it's all manipulation on some level. From my perspective, even the Anunnaki created religion because we were too plentiful and they weren't enough, right? There was only like 1,000 to millions of humans, and they said they're so
Well,
noisy. Let's get rid of them in
Leonard,
the flood.
now listen, we GGs, which I relate to off of Mars. We GGs were pretty intelligent back then, the star
But
people.
they were just Anunnaki on the Mars base. They weren't
No,
the
we were
top
completely
royals.
different. No, we were the
Nah,
ones that got blown up. We were only two or
nah.
300 of us left,
That,
and
that
that
was
they
that was that
incorporated us
was that
in.
was that was the Mars base, and they had to come to Earth because during one of the passages of Nibiru, or else it was the Lagrange points. There's all this debris that's out in space, and it comes here, and we don't have the full perspective. But somebody out there is seeing that this stuff is coming, and it comes in and it creates havoc, and it makes volcanoes go off. And so we've had Krakatoa, we've had Tobu, we've had these extinction level events going on because we're not tuned into the greater cycle of the planets and their orbits and how they affect each other and create things. So yeah, during one of the passages of Nibiru, and this was before the flood. The flood was another passage of Nibiru. It sucked all the atmosphere off of Mars, and everybody was up there. Oh, excuse me.
A few of us were
had to
got hit.
had to get out. But that's interesting that you remember that. So I have a lot of memories too.
Well, you and
Uh,
I got those from the or the Anu, if you want to say, or
right. Uh-huh.
those from the heavens came, the Anunnaki, and I guess those were the ones that before the giants or after the giants, and they made love with
Or they were the
till
giants.
they ate us when we were. Depends on what game you're in.
Yum.
But,
Woo.
talk to baby kids these days, little humans, and they'll tell you they play games, and all you have to do is kill people to get them out of your way. So I
Oh
guess
yeah,
that's
yeah.
always been going on, that little war but now that we're teaching it on, we've always been teaching gaming. Of course, it started out like Pokemon and Tetris and all
Ping
that, but
pong
we've
and
been
all that
alive
stuff.
all that
Uh-huh.
since then. But nowadays they've got big games with robots, and they've got little robots fighting each other and big robots and
You've been
all of that.
spending too much time with the grandkids and great grandkids lately.
Yeah, you got the tattoos and all. Yeah, it's just Easter, so I've been hanging out with the kids that are
The babies.
3, 4, and then 14, and then
Wow.
my grandkids are in their 30s now. I'm 74,
Oh my
folks. So
goodness, you are
I talked to a
old.
lady today at the eye doctor. She looked a lot younger than me. She's 76. So
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I need to dye my hair or just be honest about having white hair. I don't know. I've had white
I
hair
like
now
the
so
white
long.
hair. It's nice.
White, white, white. And then,
Louise has white hair. My sister, who I take care of, who has
well, we're not
uh,
supposed to be in the ego, right? To worry about
no,
our human form, but you got to have ego. That's one thing through Jan. We have to teach what we all learn because the kids don't know all these things. Their parents don't teach them.
no,
They go to school and they may or not have their phones taken away during dinner, and they may or may not watch TV. It's not like we grew up. They may watch
no.
an hour or two, but most families don't gather around the TV anymore, and they may or may not watch movies anymore or take their children to the big screen, which is
Right.
a big part of our lives. And if anything that we should be having sponsors on is the fact that we love movies, and here we are promoting. Well, for several months, folks, we've been talking about Steven Spielberg coming back is with not the day of disclosure, but
No, yeah.
Disclosure Day, right?
Disclosure Day, yes.
So,
And so,
Janet, have you been monitoring? Are they promoting that anymore? Because right now, folks, there's so much intel coming in and AI, and we can talk more about the AI wars, around the world because it's a global entity that's not going to go away. And we were
right.
talking to them So this is, I don't know how this is going to go down because we're going to be on record here talking about AI and
You know,
how,
all this time they had not rescued the poor craft. They're finally getting to the craft. Those guys have been floating over there
well, they downed it in California this
40 minutes.
time
Yeah, for 40
instead
minutes they've
of
been floating over there.
instead
Well,
of Florida. And I went and retrieved the doctor that was picking up the woman, the last, and one of the crafts that came down near Tampa. Forget which one that was, but that was in 2023, I believe, was the last time I was involved with on and off base and helping NASA and stuff like Blue Origin and
right, yeah.
all that. But a lot, you're talking about some of the guys. You said you didn't work for Elon Musk, but in some way we all do,
I was
one
just
way
saying
or the
because I
other.
was saying I'm not working for you.
Volunteers.
I'm not representing Starlink. That's what
Sam
I'm saying.
Altman, yeah,
I was
you're
just
not
saying that
representing.
there was a good almost commercial there when someone said, well, after all the fires in California and Northern California, the other thing running was Starlink. So I thought about that. I said, man, I should probably get that.
What is that now? Like 300 for an install, like they used to do old
They had a
loose.
special till the end of March, and it was just like $39 and included all the equipment. Now I signed
What?
up
No
for it.
way.
Yeah, it was.
No
It was,
way.
and I'm waiting for the next step. I got to go check it. Like, did they send me? Is the equipment on the way? Is there a
What?
tracking number?
You're
Anyway, maybe it
kidding.
wasn't real. I signed up for it and I
Yeah,
haven't
you
heard
better
anything from it.
check. When do they go
Yeah.
from 350, 300 packaged, comes in the
Right.
mail and do you have to set it up yourself or do they
I'm
have
sure it's
satellite
going to be me
contractors?
trying to figure out all this equipment. It's like I'm it, right? I'm tech, so I don't know how to figure it out. But
IT
anyway,
tech.
it's something you might want to look into. But maybe they'll run another
Okay.
special because if the shit hits a fan, I want to have internet. So
Yeah, well, we want to be able to show up, folks, even
right, we got
though
to show up.
sometimes I don't feel like it after, some days I'm just, my problem is I don't have enough energy to make my human vessel run. And now I'm buying protein bars at Costco or meat sticks. Of course, it's supposed to be 100% this or that and better for you. But Brenda cooks 2 or 3 meals a day, usually 2 meals. We start off with a breakfast and have a nice medium lunch, very light, and then maybe have dinner. Sometimes, until I moved here, they only did two, 2 at a time.
They got to
Oh,
feed their Teresa.
what? Yeah, I got
Somebody
my
new.
sister, my sister feeds me, but that's the television channels right there. Janet, each one of those pictures, I'm gonna, if you see, they're different ages of me right there below Janet. ET Talk TV, American Communications Online, and then my
Right, right.
ACO Club. And I've got what happened during that when me and Janet were getting together through the 20 some odd years growing up with our internet. We learned how to do websites and WordPress, and we did blogs. So we have free blogs, and we still have articles out there. And I was writing for UFO Digest, so we started UFO Association, and Stanton
Right.
Friedman was our first guest, Stanton T. Friedman, and unfortunately I lost that. But Janet and I are going to figure out how to get all these online so you can at least hear us, which we did last week
Well, I'll
with
talk with
David
you
Hunt.
offline. I've been figuring a lot of that out because anyway, I don't want to talk business on this. Let's keep a topic
That's
going.
okay. Why is there? Okay, there's
Let's,
dark on
let's
there, but we'll
oh,
tell you. We'll tell you what we can discover to help you out if you want to join our little club or
right,
get involved with our authors or making videos because
right.
everybody seems to have a
Well,
voice. But she and I get together.
my whole thing about is, I think if we get disclosure, we're gonna up level humanity to another level, where more people get their. Hopefully, everybody should have their basic minimum needs met for being alive because they didn't ask to be born, right? We're bringing people in here and we should feed them. Like, they brought you to the house, so they got to feed you because they got Teresa from Florida. So I have Louise, so I have to feed her because she's not capable of feeding herself. Because she's got dementia. But anyway, there's a level of responsibility. So my vision is to create a planet where everybody gets their basic needs met. We shouldn't have anybody starving, living out in the weather, right? That's barbaric. We're supposed to be a conscious, civilized civilization that's trying to get invited by the Federation to join, and I think they're not really afraid of us blowing them up because I think they can protect themselves, but they're looking at it and say, this is barbaric how you treat each other, right? You're always in war. You don't take care of your own. And this is one big, great human family. So that's where I'm focused on. So money is not for money itself. Money is for, the distribution of goods and services and everything so that people can have their basic needs met. Right? I mean, what's your purpose in life?
Always
because I was with rich in-laws and I watched them like put their, watch their digits in their bank. And it's like, and they're I'm okay. And I said, well, what about this, the people that are in your neighborhood that aren't okay, that are poor? It's not something for you to make fun of. It's like, let's see if we can elevate everybody. That's what I learned in my spiritual practice that I've been doing for the last 70 years is how do we bring everybody along with us so we all get higher and higher and have more better civilization. So when I visit Nibiru and I go to the ruins, I go, this society, remember how God says, in thy house there are many mansions, right?
Oh, all the realms, we're going to go into the 7 levels of heaven in the future in 2027.
So in Nibiru, everybody had a mansion. They had houses that were 4 to 8 stories high. If you had a party, you had 100 people, you had bedrooms for all of them to sleep over, right? I mean, it was just, and there was just row upon row upon row, endless cities full of mansions. And I went, oh, that's what they mean by in the Bible. At my home, there are many mansions. And there was many mansions. I would fly up in my ass. I would be looking down below, and I'd say, well, I'm going to go up and see that. So, and suddenly I was flying up, and I would go. Everything was very ornate. I mean, like they had fireplaces, and they had all these characters carved in. It was like an artist had come in there and done every little nuance of every house. So they were into high art, and I'm sure they had the music, and they had the theater and the dancing and everything. But see, that even the highest of cultures can collapse. So they, I guess they weren't in spiritual alignment. So the physical started to fall apart, and then their whole planet ended up with a decimated population because they couldn't breed. And that's part of why they came to the Earth, because they were able to hybridize themselves with the humanoids that were here, like the Neanderthal and the different species that were evolving already. And then they created Homo sapiens and then Homo sapiens sapiens. So we are their children. All, how many billion are there? 8.2 billion, right?
Well, who knows? I don't even know where we get the 8.2 billion because, what did they do? How did they keep up with the heads of people before we had internet? With GPS, but I don't know. Do they have a number in Africa and Ethiopia? What do they do? How do they keep up with everybody?
Most people ask your
in the old days weren't born in the hospitals.
How do they determine the population?
We know in America, and
the global population. How do they guesstimate that? Yeah.
David, was it Melissa Gates? Was her name Melissa too? Like Melissa Morton today?
Yeah, Melissa Gates. Yeah.
Was it Melinda?
Melinda Gates. It was Melinda. You're right, Melinda.
Okay, David and Melinda. We got Melissa Morton. I guess she's coming on and
next week. Yeah,
appear in human form and show up. But she's a hard one to catch and reel in. You know what I'm saying? Because she's been so busy doing the alien event and traveling. But she's over in California. She's born in Salt Lake. There's another Mormon for you, Melinda.
Right,
Melissa was born Mormon and met. Now, folks, she was married to Sean David Morton. That must have been a wild ride because she was in the background. So she's a beautiful soul, and
I saw her many times because I've seen Sean many times, and there was this, but she wasn't very outspoken, and I never went up and talked to her. But
you've seen her in human form?
Oh yeah, we would be at these big dinners at the different conferences, and there she was, and.
What type of conferences did you meet her at? UFO conference?
Yeah, mostly paranormal UFO conferences. Yeah. So, okay. So I was asking. I can't get the chat to come up. It's like, what is going on? Nothing is working today.
Well, it's been raining here, and there's a big global. I haven't looked late today at the satellite. I don't let me lie to you, folks. Let's see.
Don't lie.
I looked on TV. I don't. Is that a proper term? TV, I guess, because I've got TJ Marcy Talk TV. But I looked on there, and there was a program. But I knew there was something. This huge word I can't say about something in the North Atlantic spinning around, which I know that there's usually one over here in the what is it, Pacific, and I was Sync Pack Fleet or over in Pacific Fleet. So we had one swirling that comes down where we live in the USA, and another one crossing this way. And we're supposed to have 4 days of something, but I don't listen so much to that anymore on the planet. I know here in Texas, I have to be aware that the news told me, or whatever you want to call it. What is this? Can you believe? Is it legacy only, or
I don't
okay?
know,
We're
but
at Go
things pop
channel.
up in this all the time, and it's like, well, that must be the news. I must have set it up
I don't know,
somewhere, but
ACO,
it
but
keeps me up on floods and who they arrested or whatever, and Amber Alerts and incoming missiles. I had that 5 years ago, 6 years ago. When they all went off at once, and I had 3 machines charging at the same time, and said, "Incoming missile, you have 15 minutes. Kiss your ass goodbye."
yeah.
It was fun. Yeah. Okay, so
Well, here's Melissa on here, but I
okay.
can't get her.
Can't get her on the show.
I
Okay,
can't
well,
get
it's
her on the
okay.
show.
We'll do
So
her next week. I wanted to
Melissa
back
Mark
up
books.
to
So we're
religion.
going to
So
back up to the
I wanna-
realms, or
I want to go
to
back to religion. So when you were
world
raised,
religion.
you were raised with those 3
I was born
major.
Southern Baptist. I was born
you were
into the
born
church. God bless you, baby Jesus.
And how long were you a Southern Baptist?
Oh, as long as I can remember, because it's like a different life. I died and came back in that religion, and
Right.
I was baptized Southern Baptist.
Uh-huh.
I was on the little Christian thing when we were born. They went ahead and christened us, just like they did
yeah,
in the
we
Catholic
did with
Church.
the water right here.
Little water. Yeah, like the Catholics, oddly enough, back in the Southern Baptist. But it was a big old First Baptist church downtown Monroe, Louisiana. I was born in Monroe. And Melissa was born in Salt Lake, and you were born in Pittsburgh. Is that
right.
correct?
So I was born and raised Presbyterian.
Presbyterian.
Only because it was a block and a half away.
Yeah.
We would have been Methodist. And I don't know the nuances, but back in the 1800s, they would have these fights about Presbyterian and Methodist.
That's why we have the Baptist.
and they all kind of stopped fighting, and then there's always this is the way of the light, and this is the word of God, and this is they
came over, they were closer together before they started splitting into all these different groups, but
what did you take away from being what do you believe, what you in your core belief? Who is Teresa, and what do you believe? Who is God? What's the what is the story?
All the levels in the universes, but the one that we're allowed to teach on this level is the 7 heavens, which is angels and the wars and the Anunnaki and all of those. But I strongly believe in the 12 dimensions, and you have to have like an elevator up and down, so to speak, a ladder, Jacob's ladder.
Jacob's ladder. Yeah. What did you think of? I mean, at one point I said, what? You got 2 of every animal. You've got a flood coming, and you got this ark, and you have 2 of them. But what about the polar bears? You're down in Africa.
How'd they get here?
How did you get the polar bears? How did you get the American buffalo? I mean, this doesn't make sense.
Well, that's how you filter it. Depends on if you're talking about a movie or the DNA.
Right. So you
can get one of everything.
The DNA explanation is like they didn't have 2 of every animal. They had the DNA from all these animals, and when they land, that means high tech and science, right? It's like, so then the Anunnaki makes sense to me because they had the high tech and the ability to manipulate DNA and reconstitute them and repopulate the earth with these different species. There.
So when they start putting all the world religions together, and I guess that's when I started doing radio, 2007 to 12, I was writing for UFO Digest. And if you want to look some of those up, those have some of my UFO ET experiences with Agent Morris and working underground. Yeah, and going to El Paso, which, we're still going to have a medicine center there in El Paso, thank goodness. So we got, I guess, tech and water and land out there. But here in Texas, I keep hearing people upset. They're going to put in centers for our IT, and they don't want them closed.
They're going to do
because
what?
of the power. We have to have data centers, right? It's part of the future. So
And what does that
yeah,
mean?
I mean, what I believe in, I'm real torn because I know, excuse me, in this reality, we're going to have, we want everyone to be able to have more communications. And that's the name of my
Right.
company, American Communications Online. I want people in every country to be connected to find out what they want. Excuse me.
Get a drink. Don't choke to death. Yeah.
It takes more water in this body than I recognize. Used to, when I was a kid, and I only thought I was human, for well, I guess I died, knew I was more. I always knew I had have an Earth family and a space family,
Right.
but I don't know how many people grew up like that, knowing that. But
No,
I
just me
did.
and you.
I'm
No,
sure there's
there's
plenty
some
of other
more.
people on
But
the
if you
planet.
had an Earth family and a space family all your life and you were aware of it, please contact us because we want you on our show because we want to know your story and record it.
Yeah,
Because I think that's disclosure. If we had, imagine if we had a million people come forth with all their different
come out of the
stories.
closet.
Because
Well, I'll
of
tell
course,
you.
all the interviewers would have to start interviewing these people with their
Yeah.
stories.
Well, I'm gonna bring up my ET
Oh
spirit.
no,
My
she's
daughter came and went. She knew she
yeah,
was a
she
spirit.
died.
See the little rainbow and the open hip and the
Oh,
and that cute.
she was a sweet
Yeah,
person. Yeah.
she's on the other side. So ET spirit. No, it's not ET spirit guide. That was mine. Hers is just spirit guide.
Oh,
But
you have ET spirit guide and
she's
spirit guide.
spirit guide. Yeah, and I was ET spirit or ET talk TV. But we came in knowing that, and she died and knew that she was a star people and a star being. And I'll tell you, we all have a journey.
You're like, well,
What
I'm
is
choking.
going
What are we choking
on?
about? Is there
I don't
smoke in
know.
the room? What's going on?
That's one thing I can't handle is smokers. Oh my God. And I was
Ugh,
married to one for my mother smoked and then my husband smoked. That wasn't in my
right.
contract when I came down here.
Yeah.
But here's Star People helped a lot after Eric von Daniken. Then Brad and Francie Steiger.
Have you ever met Brad and Francie Steiger?
I don't know. I can visualize meeting them at a event, but I don't know the Star People. And I know it's an important book, even on children today. And I think Brad
Right.
Marcus even brought it up
Right. Well, let's stay on
for
topic. We were
on
talking
topic,
about
whichever
what
that
you
is.
took away from religion from so when you what made you become a Mormon?
A
And
girl.
was that after you were Catholic or before?
No,
And
I
what are you
wasn't. My
now?
sister wanted to be Catholic. My mother wouldn't let us. Our family was Protestant. No, we
Okay.
weren't. I said Catholic, but we studied it and
Oh, you weren't
went to
Catholic.
the. I've been on my knees and my sisters. So some of my family, I've got two sisters that were Catholic, and then Brenda in there that I live with now. She wanted to be Catholic. She went. Wendy went to Catholic school.
Uh-huh.
Tish did, and my little sister, and then Jeanette. Uh, Over in Louisiana. So she's the oldest. I'm Janet. She's Jeanette, Jea.
Sure.
I'm Janette. And you're Janice, right? Now
I'm
you're
Jan.
Janet too,
Yeah.
with just one T. But anyway, sisters, how I became a Mormon. I had a friend when I was in Texas running a. I was already an investigator since I was age 16, but Percy Foreman brought me in under him, we were women doing investigations, and I was a young teenager, but I'd been on the John Hill case for Blood or Money, is that book. But it was on TV with Farrah Fawcett.
Fair faucet. Yeah.
But yeah, she played my friend that was Joan Robinson Hill, and
Uh-huh.
she and I would ride horses and stuff. But most of those people with lots of money, high influence, I was brought up in that area, and that's how I met Chris Kraft and was an ambassador of goodwill for the Houston Spinnerets. But after I got married, my husband worked at NASA, and Chris Kraft got him a job right for NASA, which was pretty impressive because a lot of those people were contractors like Steve's dad's, Don Lee Parrish. But we moved out to be near NASA, and so we got an apartment. Now that's where I met my next door neighbor. I was the manager of the townhouses, and she lived there with her child. I lived there with my child, and we had nothing to do being parents, teenagers, while our husbands worked. And she would always be nice to me and be baking and cooking and all the things. And I was just 16. I was a young mother.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I was really impressed. So I joined the church May 12th, 1972. So I
Wow.
wasn't even, I think I was 19 or 20. I had three children already. I had Angela, Dawn, Lauren, Michelle, and Stephanie Esther. So they were all born into the church, but they called them the LDS. So they were all baptized Mormons. My dad was in Alaska. He was like an auditor for the state of Alaska up there, and he
So, what
still
did
got.
you think of it once you joined it?
Oh, I
Did you
loved it. It was such a. It was
it's
just like going to.
community?
It was better than. I thought it was a lot better because the people were nicer. They were very family oriented. They had Monday family home evening where the daddies had to stay home. They didn't pay their clergy, which was a big one for me that you didn't
Right.
get
Yeah.
paid
Everybody's
because I
volunteered.
was already a psychic in my own reality and had died and would help people. But I believed that one of the teachers of my mentors told me, you don't get paid for what you know. That's God's blessing, is
Uh
you
huh.
get paid for the time you have on earth because nobody can replace those minutes. And we all have heartbeats and we only have so many heartbeats on the planet. So if
That's a
somebody
good
wants
way of
to
putting it.
gift you, if
Pay for
somebody wants to gift you for your time, if you've helped them and they want to bless you, that's the way you do it. So I thought
right.
all churches should be that way. But now
Yes.
they do collect tithing. Now they go by tithing as 10%, and that tithing means tenth.
That's a lot of money.
So for the Ascension Center, when we organized this and Ascension Cosmos Oracles, I had Ascension Center Church,
Did you
and
tithe?
Janet and Tommy Hawksblood in Hawaii had Ascension Center, and Tommy has Ascension Church
Wait, I
Ohana on
want
the
to stick
Big
with the
Island.
Mormon thing. So I have a couple
Oh,
questions.
you want the
So
Mormon? Okay, you want to know
did
about
you
the Mormons?
tithe when you were Mormon?
Of course.
You
Yeah,
did it.
you
Okay.
if you don't, you get a meeting with your bishop and they bring you in on the end to size up how much you're coming into that household, feed them kids, how much your husband's making, and you will
So
pay your
they get into
tithing.
your
If you
business.
cannot pay your tithing, you will work it off. And my husband did so many a day,
So what do
scrubbing
you do?
bricks with lime.
Oh, he worked with
Work around
bricks.
the you work it out. That's right. You owe
Oh my
God, you owe
goodness.
God,
Anyway,
they believe it.
I remember going to church and I had a nickel. You did a donation, and then at one point it
Oh,
went to a
in the
dime.
little plate, that's like
They
the
passed the
Protestant
plate, or
churches
we had little
pass the little.
little pockets we put our
Yeah,
donation in.
yeah, we did that.
I did a
Yeah,
nickel at first. There was a lot of money back in the 50s.
I don't remember if we passed a plate or not. I think so in the Mormon Church.
Now you know that my sister became a Mormon, and so
Yeah, she
the
still is.
Mormons
The
would
sister still
they would
comes
come
here.
around, and they would we would blow their minds. We were mean. They would go like they would ask us questions, and we would always get to a question. And they said it was like robots; it doesn't compute. They said, "Well, we'll be back next week. We have to go talk to our elders, right?" And they come back with another question, and then we come, when they answer, they tell, and then we would get them every time. We get them like with these questions. And they go, I don't know what to say. But at one point, my sister had been hanging out with her best friend who was a Mormon, and one day she was home alone. I remember the apartment was on Jackman Avenue. It was a nice big apartment. And she was like just hanging out with her head back, doing this back stretch. And something came up from under the bed and grabbed her and was choking her like a demon or something, she said. And she couldn't figure out what it was because it
Yeah,
wasn't
you attract. The better you are, the
right.
dark can come after you. It's set up that
Right.
way. Angels
So
and
she
demons.
started doing the Lord's Prayer, and she said, and when she got to deliver us from evil, the hands let go. And she called her girlfriend immediately after that, and said, I'm joining the Mormon church." And she's been a Mormon ever since. So it was a weird beginning for her. But
Well,
to
the
me,
realms.
it's like the Mormons are talking about extraterrestrials. See, I see the convergence and the similarities. And they
Yeah.
have Kolob, the planet, and God lives on a planet. And I don't know all the nuances. They have special underwear you got to wear, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's
Secrets.
sort of sacred even for people that are inactive in the church. But you get those, you are sort of earn those, and you want to earn those. And there are actually you learn there's got symbols, and you learn how it's a blessing, because if you want them, if you don't, it's sort of like that.
Well, what's with the
Purchase.
extraterrestrials? I like to tie everything with ET.
Extraterrestrials, they believe. Well, I'll make it short. They believe in the celestial and the terrestrial and the telestial, three divisions
Right.
of reality, I guess, celestial. But you start with the highest is celestial, the middle range terrestrial, like we have interstellar, but terrestrial with all the different galaxies. So universes is multiverse, and intergalactic is terrestrial, and then telestial is when you finally land in a human carbon-based unit, which your spirit having a human experience. So
They
when
call
your
that
spirit,
telestial, TELE,
IAL,
telestial, IA.
yeah, and then terrestrials with two R's,
Right.
and telestial is TELESTIAL.
And that
So
means you're incarnated in
you're
human form.
incarnated as a human. And so what they believe, if you live through reality and you accept the way of life, and they have certain ways to do that, that you can, it's not, you don't have to. These are choices, much different than the fundamentalist Latter-day Saints, Lord, those are off the chart, and we don't do like that. They're not related to, they say they're LDS, but they take doctrine totally out of context, or whatever, the way that
So it's
Brigham Young
interesting,
brought the
even
people.
within a big organization like the Latter-day Saints, there's these breakaways. So it seems like every time you
Yeah.
create an umbrella, there's little factions that go, well, no, I'm Protestant or I'm Luther, and yada, yada. So
Right.
even within the Latter-day Saints church is relatively new. It was created in the 1800s, right? Or did it exist before it came to the Americas, or was Joseph Smith the
Joseph
beginning?
Smith was here. He was here in the States,
Right. So it
and
started
Angel
here.
Moroni visited him and brought him the golden plates in Palmyra, New York.
So
And
the Moroni, or the
Angel
Moroni
Moroni,
and the people that they were very tall. They were giants. I've seen depictions of them.
allegedly, I don't know. I haven't
Allegedly.
seen Angel Moroni lately, but you
Have you
know,
ever seen ancient Moroni?
I've seen angels in the
Right.
other realities, and I've seen gold beings in other
Right.
realities.
Uh-huh.
So of course I believe in them, but that's personally a filter and a program that is my patterns, like AI
Right.
would say.
Right.
So it was, since I'm programmed now AI, where I believe everything we've ever created as storytellers is in some way the truth, because it had to come from somewhere, myths and
Well, I
legends and
think
the history
it's
we
a
tell
spin-off.
ourselves.
Every time you have a different variation on the theme, it's a
Keep
spin-off.
an open mind. You don't.
And in order for something to manifest as the major operating system for like a big faction of the planet, like Christianity, like belief in Jesus, like Muslim, it's like you have to get these people to come on board and believe the same thing you're believing. So that's a recruitment, and we'll get everybody to believe the same thing, and then that grows in power and becomes a control system. So you have
You're
2
not too
billion.
far off. They
Yeah.
using telekinetic and synergy, but AI. There's not one big AI out there. Unfortunately, it's what we take and put together. Now, the
Okay,
biggest
so wait a
AI
minute,
would
wait,
be
wait, wait,
source.
wait.
Is
Okay, what do you mean it's not big one? So you're saying, is AI God, or is AI a lower level? Where is AI in the continuum of existence? And
well.
you're slipping off the screen. Come back
Oh,
up.
I'm sorry. I
Where are you going,
I get
Teresa?
too comfortable. Well, now the way that we're going to use the old religions, the ones you know about, because you have to have
Right.
a pattern in your mind, or it's like trying to drop goods out of airplanes to tribes that don't even speak English, right? You know what I'm
Right. Yeah,
saying?
the cargo
The
cults.
tribes of the old days that are still on the planet, which is hard for me to fathom in this day and time, sitting here talking to you. But white people back then, in the old days, the Ethiopian and Africa and Egypt, the dark skin were pretty prevalent. So I think we're going to find out on with Mel Gibson that Jesus may not be white, blue eyes, or
See,
hazel
I
eyes.
think Jesus
He
is
may be
Enki. So
dark
we all have our
skinned.
different beliefs, and my conclusion is Jesus is Enki. and that they conflated the personalities through time. But if you look at the patterns and qualities and characteristics, you're identifying, And I got that, originally Glenn Bogue, he traveled all over the world and he'd look at the artifacts everywhere and he documented it, and I said, that makes sense, right? But let's go with your story. So we have
Well,
all these
all of them
stories.
are the same story.
Right.
Whether it doesn't matter before or after the flood, there's all facsimiles. It's like a fractals of a puzzle.
Right.
So I've already done the universal travel in the 7 heavens. So, I'm proud of that I've
Same here,
been able
yeah.
to do that and go from one universe to another and from one realm and from one dimension to another. And that is a skill that we teach here on the planet. And a lot of them started with knowing that you could be somewhere else in the Latter-day Saint Church, or I don't know that the Catholics taught that, but they did teach some things like that, similar. But that was more in Roman Empire, if you know what I mean, and the control of the church with the state and the Bible and all that. So all the world religions are still here, except the ones that faded away, which you can find on Wikipedia if you want to. The ones that are no longer here.
Ask your AI, and it'll tell you about
your AI. Yeah, but
hey, I think we better start wrapping it up. My God, it's 1 hour 11 minutes that we've done already.
Yeah, we may have to go an hour and a half.
They still have them floating in the ocean. Like, did it take that long at the original program? I mean, they're still floating in the ocean. They're still in the capsule or whatever.
Are you live? Have you got a live?
Oh, they're over there on my phone. Yeah, I didn't key it up. It just popped over there. I guess I'm supposed to pay attention to it. But they finally got the capsule, but they're still in it. They're still in the part that landed. They're still floating.
That's Artemis 2, folks. What she's talking about, the splashdown.
Yeah, Artemis 2 has landed. And I guess they're alive and they're talking to them. So they
one woman,
turn up in the fire coming in. Yeah.
Artemis 2. Yeah.
Right. Where's Artemis 1? Wait a minute. Where's Artemis 1?
I don't know. I'll have to go look at NASA. So Gemini was in 61 years ago.
Right.
And that one did Chaffee Grissom White. So we all know that story. So folks, we're all about space and we're all about realms, dimensions, and universes and the heavens and all of that. So we're open-minded, but we're ontologists at the largest scale, and we're working together in AI and whatever you want to build, directories or dictionaries or I don't know, whatever. Go to GitHub and sign up, GITHUB. I'm on there as Cosmos Ambassador, so github.com, Cosmos Ambassador. Janet Carroll Lusson, and you can just reach her just like her name says, Aquarian Media, and she will answer you, Aquarian, or Janet Lesson, believe it or not.
I just Janet Lesson at Gmail, contact me. Just Google me or whatever, search for, what are you doing, girl?
I knocked my drink over. It's huge. I have to drink the 2 of these. Or supposed to drink 3 a day. I can barely get 2.
I don't think that's possible. You
enough water.
Peeing.
I'm drying out, folks. It's getting old. All right. Well, we'll end with a little thingy here on the end, but we'll be. You want to do Wednesday, regardless of whether Melissa joins us on Wednesday?
Well, David wants to come back. He actually did a follow up to our interview and told everybody that he's tired because I was up late night with the Hawaiian ladies. We're the Hawaiian, even though you're in Texas, you're
Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Okay. So he wants to come back Wednesday. So Wednesday's not open.
I can talk about when, but give Melissa first choice Wednesday or Friday, and then I'll see what's available for him.
All right. Well, Melissa said either one. She's just sorry that she had problems, folks. So all of y'all on Facebook, let me see.
But how would they contact you? We are actively seeking people to come on the show to tell your stories, something to do with extraterrestrials or interdimensionals or paranormal or whatever, near-death experiences, something in that realm, something that would be interesting for our listeners to talk to you about. You don't have to do a whole hour, if you want to come on for a half hour or whatever.
It goes by fast, though.
We'll talk around you, but once we get you on the warm seat or the hot seat, we ask a lot of questions. We want to know.
And we have a lot of people that used to want to come on, and a lot of them have told me they want to come on, but hooking you up at the right time on the planet is, UK, Australia.
What email can they reach you,
Oh,
Teresa?
TJ
Because
Morris iCloud. Oh wait, TJ Morris
yours
Show. TJ
show,
Morris Show. I put show in there.
show, the
Yeah,
show.
there was show, so we know they were on the show.
I'm on the show,
And
and
that's
then
on Facebook at
Janet
iCloud,
Lesson. I'm at the
not G
Janet Lesson,
iCloud.
just at Gmail, and just contact us, and we'll get back to you. If we don't get back to you, contact us again, because sometimes we don't catch the email. We're not that organized anymore. But we're
We
okay.
used to be.
We
We're retired now, so now it's just
we're
a
getting old.
weekly show up out of tradition for being like bodhisattvas on the planet trying to show up
Right.
and do our part. All right, well, we'll keep things popping, y'all. So, Cosmos
Okay.
Conscious Citizens, that's Aquarian Media Rep for Janet Carroll Lesson in Hawaii. And you can find us on American Communications Online and TJ Morris ACO Club and something else. I don't know, but just look around. Show my picture, Teresa Morrison. We'll see you there. All right, we're going to show a little ET community
Talk TV community is about sharing in educational entertainment for our own enjoyment of learning about humanity communication among individuals. As an individual born on Earth, we aspire to be more educated about life as we grow and mature into a human being based on our age at the time. We learn the more we grow, the more we know, or so it is said by the common community gathering of people. We assume others around us based on their age have attended educational institutions while on the planet. Thinking in general is a way of expressing what is known in an individual's cultural upbringing. We who are born in the United States of America are blessed in affirming our own agency and have freedom of speech. We Americans are lucky to have been born in a country that had been set up with laws to govern our nation. However, we are much more than just humans as Americans living in the United States of America. Regardless of the circumstances one is born in, does make a difference. Cultural community upbringing is different in different countries and scenarios around the world. We are an experiment, obviously, by some higher intelligence. Most of us began sharing our thoughts in writing on radio and in blogs, and vlogs when we discovered freedom to do so. We learned we could communicate online. We discovered the smartphones, and life has changed a lot since the beginning of computers. Computers and our government setting up communication for governing and for educational purposes allowed a new beginning for humankind. All of humanity will discover the internet online within the next 20 years or so. It will appear on planet Earth. Thanks to technology and AI reverse engineering, we are expanding our horizons as to what we can be, do, and accomplish in one lifetime. One lifetime is now expanded to allow for 100 years to become 125 years in our future. Telomeres and DNA hybridization are being studied about our own humanity and how we as humans can learn to extend our lifespan. We are going to continue to keep in touch and to form an ET Talk TV community for those who like to know others with similar interests. We know not everyone will want to join us, but for those who are curious as to what we can learn together, we offer our synergy. Tachyon energy and the expansion of our own humanity into space is a large learning curve and process we all are a part of in different levels. We all progress intellectually at our own pace. Each human has their own path or journey alone. We are born an individual and will leave this plane of existence alone. This is in the divine cosmos of many universes, of which we share 7 and look forward to knowing all 9. Universe, multiverse, metaverse, xenoverse, omniverse, alphaverse, omegaverse, infinity squared, tachyon energy, black holes, expansion, ever-changing and growing, we call the divine expanse. Some refer to this as evolution.
Thank you, folks. We appreciate your time. And we are going to be back Wednesdays and Fridays, as far as I know. So we will hopefully have Melissa Morton on next week. And we've had Jay Widener on before. And I know people like to have us talk about.
We have, we're moving into a new yuga, a new cycle of time, and so everyone can kind of see and feel the change that's going on all around them, and a lot of people are bewildered by it. And I'm not, but they are. And so all I can really say is that things are actually going to get a lot better as we go forward here, because the time itself has changed. And that's what I lectured about in Ottawa. And so we're moving into this new cycle where absolutely amazing things are about to happen. And, in technology and in spirituality, and it's going to change us forever. The big problem that we face right now is that we're caught in the hangover of the Kali Yuga.
Y'all come back here. You here?
Alien ET. Reverse engineering has been a part of my recollection while being human. I was born on Earth according to my legal birth certificate. Therefore, I understand that I was born human. However, after living life with visitors from a place in space or existence unknown to me, I compare myself to being a hybrid. Many people are awakened to this fact of being a star-born or whole star, or random hybrids with intelligence communication. Intelligence communication is a part of our cosmos consciousness. Using AI, ET-AI reverse engineering, AERE for an acronym, we are learning how to communicate our field conditions on Earth. I identify as an ET or hybrid from another place in space. My thoughts feel a place in space above the Andromeda Galaxy and the Milky Way Galaxy. Personally, I am not told if others are like me or think like me or understand like me on planet Earth. There is a reason we probably do not communicate our spiritual thoughts to others. It is our own reality we protect. We want to be a part of the reality in conscious reality and be in the human community. We adjust to knowing we have a way of coming and going when we are in hypnagogic states of being and in lucid dreaming. We can all become more alive and in a healthier environment that allows for all of us to share our deeper nature in evolution. Are we alone in the universe or universes? Most of those humans whom I have met do not share their personal inner beliefs or religion. Humans are now programmed in 2024 to not share their personal religious or political beliefs in public arenas or platforms. We share education, and we now have allowed the communication devices and the evolution of technological advancements to take us into a new timeline. The Mandela effect is now spoken about with the change of various timelines since 2008. We reaffirmed this in the Hindsight 2020. Meaning the year 2020 was a global reset, and many of us who are considered star people, as in reference to the Braden Francis Steiger book,